Imagine being 8 years old and wondering if today is the day your parents will forget to pick you up from school because they're high. Or worse, today will be the day you come home to find a parent unconscious on the floor. For millions of American children, this is their daily reality. Today, I want to talk to you about the social problem that affects every single one of us, whether or not we have personally experienced it, drug abuse among parents, and how it damages not only our families, but the future of our society. I am advocating for a federal policy requiring mandatory rehabilitation for parents convicted of drug abuse, along with mandatory early intervention services for their children. This will not only help break the cycle of addiction, but also protect society from bearing the future costs of untreated trauma. I will first explain how children are affected by parental drug abuse. Then I will propose a solution that could realistically change the future of these children and for all of us. According to Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, over 8.7 million children live with at least one parent battling substance use disorder. That's roughly 1 in 10 children in the United States. Drug abuse doesn't happen in isolation. It leads to unstable home environments, neglect, abuse, and emotional trauma. Children exposed to drug abuse are twice as likely to experience depression, anxiety, and development substance use disorders themselves. Let's consider an example. A 7-year-old boy, Jaden, whose mother struggles with heroin addiction. Instead of worrying about math homework, Jaden worries about whether his mom will overdose during the night. He grows up feeling neglected, unloved, and unsafe. Without intervention, the odds are stacked against Jaden. He is more likely to drop out of school, get involved in crime, and struggle in addiction himself. The social impact is enormous. Overburdened foster care systems, billions in increased healthcare and criminal justice costs, a rising generation of traumatized children with limited opportunities. Even if you personally don't know a child like Jaden, you are still affected through higher taxes, increased healthcare premiums, and greater community instability. We need a federal policy that does 2 things: requires mandatory rehabilitation programs for parents convicted of drug offenses involving substance abuse, immediately assigns children services to affected children, offering counseling, monitoring, and stability services. Mandatory rehabilitation is not punishment, it's healing. When parents receive effective treatment, they are less likely to relapse. In fact, research from the National Institute of Drug Abuse shows the rehabilitation programs have success rates between 40 to 60%, depending on program structure and length. But rehabilitation alone isn't enough. Children must also be protected and supported early. The American Physiology Association reports that childhood interventions such as counseling and family support can reduce future crime rates by 43% and increase high school graduation rates by 44%. Think of it like fixing a leaky roof. If you patch it early, you save a house. Ignore it, and the structure collapses. Similarly, addressing drug abuse and child trauma saves lives, families, and millions of dollars in future social costs. This chart shows how children living in drug abuse households are 5 times more likely to experience mental illness and 3 times more likely to drop out of high school compared to their peers. This flowchart shows the early intervention and rehabilitation together reduce trauma, improve education outcomes, and lower crime rates. In conclusion, drug abuse among parents is a social problem, not just a personal tragedy. It rips families apart, burdens social systems, and perpetuates cycles of poverty and crime. By implementing a federal law that mandates rehabilitation for addicted parents and early intervention for their children, we begin to break this cycle and heal our communities. Imagine if instead of becoming another tragic statistic, children like Jaden could grow up in a stable, loving environment. Imagine the future we could build, a future where we invest in hope, healing, and opportunity rather than in prisons and emergency rooms. The time is to act now. Let's protect the forgotten victims of drug abuse, our children, and by so we can protect our collective future. Thank you.
Good job.
Good job.